Good day. Today we will proceed with another technique in multivariate analysis in association with or in relation to our discussion about data analytics. So let's discuss factor analysis. Now, recall about the concepts of constructs, variables, and data. Okay, as discussed, I told you that constructs are abstract concepts, and of course, variables are measurable concepts, and the data, of course, are the actual numerical values of the measurable concepts. So, for example, we have a construct here like intelligence. Intelligence is a construct because it's an abstract concept. The variable associated with intelligence is IQ score. And of course, we know that the data associated with IQ score are the actual values, of course, of the IQ score. For example, an IQ of 120. So these are the interrelationship or the connection, okay, between constructs, variables, and data. So you have to recall these concepts because it's important that you'll know these concepts because they are associated or they're connected with the idea of doing factor analysis. So what is factor analysis? Actually, it is an interdependence technique, and its purpose is to define the underlying structure among the variables in the analysis. So take note, variable play a key role in the multivariate analysis. Variables are the building blocks of relationship. Factor analysis provides us the tools for analyzing the structure of interrelationships among a large number of variables by defining sets of variables that are highly interrelated, known as factors. These factors assume to represent dimension within the data. So there are two types of, when we talk about factor analysis, there are two perspectives here, either the exploratory perspective or the confirmatory perspective. That's why we have exploratory factor analysis, and we also have confirmatory factor analysis. Let's begin with exploratory factor analysis. So allow me to give you an illustration. So this is how the factors would look like, and even their interrelation with specific indicators or specific items. Okay, so our goal here is to find these items and group them together so that we can come up with a factor. Okay, I'll give you an illustration. Okay, suppose you have 50 items of statements, and out of those 50 items, there are 3 items which are interrelated or correlated. Now, as I've told you, correlation here, the concept of correlation here it's not just a simple relationship that we know of, a linear relationship between, two concepts or two things, okay? But here, when we talk about correlation, it talks about simply also a measure of similarity. So these 3 here are quite similar, these 3 statements out of the 50 statements. Okay, suppose you are conducting a survey and then you analyze the data, and then it turned out that these 3 are correlated items. So the 3 items are the following: I love to read books, book is my life, I spend money for books. Now in factor analysis, you have to name these 3 here, these 3 correlated items. So suppose you name them as affinity for book. Okay, so now you have a construct for these 3, a name of a certain construct for these 3 items here. In other words, you already have the theme here. So it's affinity for book. I love to read books. Book is my life. I spend money for books. So since you'll have a construct here, this construct could also be transformed into a variable already. So we have here affinity for book, affinity level for book. So it's just the same statements, but what we just changed here is the concept of variable. Okay, we place the concept of level here because as I've told you earlier, the variable is a measurable concept. Okay, so suppose, okay, you are now using those three items here when you, I mean, in finding the affinity level for book of your respondent. So you have here three items, and of course, this is just for one variable, affinity level for book. And you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 for, if they agree so much with the statement. So example, if they agree with I love to read books, then they can rate 5. But here in this case, okay, the respondent just rated 3. Another book is my life, so just the respondent just rated 2. And for I spend my money for books, okay, the respondent rated 5. So when you add all the scores here, I love to read books, okay, you are supposed to get 15 perfect score here, okay, for the affinity level for book. But in this case, the respondent, you got only 10 out of 15 from the respondent's answer. So it's around 10 divided by 15, that's 0.66. Or specifically, it's 66.67%, okay, affinity level for book. Now, this 66.67% would be now your data, okay, for the affinity level for book. Just look at the connection of doing factor analysis and later integrating it to your formulation of questionnaire, and which this questionnaire could help you measure or test your variable. So that's just a sort of connection. So that's the reason why we have to start with factor analysis, because later factor analysis is a good tool for us to identify or create a questionnaire that could help us measure certain variables. Okay, so this is what we get when we do exploratory factor analysis. At the end, okay, um, you can you can formulate a questionnaire uh, in a practical sense of doing factor analysis, especially the exploratory factor analysis. So researchers use exploratory factor analysis, or we call it EFA, when they do not already have a good understanding of the factors present in a data set. In this scenario, they use factor analysis to find the factors within a data set containing many variables. So use this approach before forming hypotheses about the patterns in your data set. So that's one. But what I gave you earlier is, just a sort of application already. Okay, when you come up with an exploratory factor analysis. So, but then the main point here of doing factor analysis is for you to identify, okay, the factors within a data set containing many variables. Okay, and you can form hypotheses about the patterns in your data set later. So another one is confirmatory factor analysis, or CFA. So recall that you already have, suppose, okay, in your confirmatory factor analysis, you already have come up with a construct or a relationship of constructs between, construct A and construct B. And so you identified already the variables. So now you can hypothesize, okay, if there's a connection. You want to confirm, okay, the relationship between independent variable and the dependent variable here, coming from your construct A and construct B. So that's the point of confirmatory factor analysis. It's more a rigid process than EFA or AFA. Using this method, the researchers seek to confirm existing hypotheses developed by themselves or others. And this process aims to confirm previous ideas, okay, like theories or something you discovered from your exploratory factor analysis, okay, and measurement and assessment instruments, like, whenever you come up with a questionnaire already, okay, as a result of doing exploratory factor analysis. Consequently, the nature of what they want to verify will impose constraints on the analysis. So another illustration, okay, so that you'll understand um, when and how to use factor analysis. So from a qualitative research investigation, suppose a firm identified 80 different characteristics of retail store and their service. So here, okay, the preliminary thing we did, or this, retail store did, was to conduct a qualitative research investigation. And after that, they were able to identify 80 different characteristics of retail store and their service that consumers mention as affecting their patronage choice among stores. So most probably, the qualitative research was conducted. I mean, in that qualitative research, the researchers or researcher was able to interview consumers. Okay, and then from their interview, they found out 80 different characteristics of retail store. Okay, according to their consumers that affect their patronage choice among stores. So the retailer wants to understand how consumers make decisions, but feels that it cannot evaluate 80 separate characteristics or develop action plans for this many variables because they are too specific. So instead, it would like to know if consumers think in more general, evaluative dimensions rather than in just the specific items. For example, consumers may consider salespersons to be a more general evaluative dimension that is composed of many more specific characteristics such as knowledge, courtesy, likability, sensitivity, friendliness, helpfulness, and so on. So to identify these broader dimensions, the retailer could commission a survey asking for consumer evaluations on each of the 80 specific items. Factor analysis would then be used to identify the broader underlying evaluative dimensions. So it's a tool, it's an analytical tool, or you initiate the analysis now, okay, in order to identify this dimension. And the tool that we use, or the retailer used or employed, was the factor analysis. So specific items that correlate highly are assumed to be a member of that broader dimension. Just what I showed you earlier, no? I told you that suppose there were 50 items, and then out of those 50 items, 3 were correlated. But in all those 50 items, other items are also correlated with each other that we can name, okay, another construct or variable thereafter. So these dimensions, okay, become composites of specific variables, which in turn allow the dimensions to be interpreted and described. Just what I have illustrated to you earlier. So in this illustration, the factor analysis might identify such dimensions as product assortment, product quality, prices, store personnel, service, and store atmosphere as the broader evaluative dimensions used by the respondents. So each of these dimensions contains specific items that are a facet of the broader evaluative dimension. So from these findings, the retailer may then use the dimensions or the factors to define broad areas for planning and action. So the factor analysis has a process to go through. Okay, so you have to go through a process here in doing factor analysis, and it's composed of 7 stages. So the stage 1 would be objectives of factor analysis. So you have to define, okay, what's going to be your objective of doing a factor analysis. You design a factor analysis, okay, include the assumptions in factor analysis, driving factors and assessing overall fit, okay, interpreting the factors, validation of factor analysis, and additional uses of factor analysis results. So here, okay, I'm showing you here stage 1 to stage 3. Okay, we'll proceed later to stage 4 to 7 after this. So we have here, okay, stage 1, identifying the research problem, okay, that includes your objective. So is the analysis exploratory or confirmatory? So you have to select your objective, okay? Data summarization and identifying structures and data reduction, okay? That's part of your objectives here. Now, in confirmatory, okay, it's either, okay, if you choose confirmatory, then proceed to confirmatory, okay? And of course, this confirmatory analysis, okay, is more in line or related, or it will proceed later to structural equation modeling, which we will be discussing as well. Okay. So exploratory, okay, if you proceed to exploratory, then you have to select the types of factor analysis. What is being grouped? The variables or cases? Okay. So if cases, okay, you may proceed to Q-type factor analysis or cluster analysis. Okay, if you are, okay, going to, if you're going to group, okay, cases, so it's Q-type factor analysis, or you may proceed to cluster analysis. Okay, that's why we will be discussing as well cluster analysis later. Another, okay, if you select variables, then proceed to R-type factor analysis. And then after that, okay, you'll proceed to your research design. What variables are included? Or how are the variables measured? What is the desired sample size? So you may now proceed to stage 3, which is your assumption or the assumptions. Okay, you proceed with, you know, statistical considerations of normality, linearity, and homoscedasticity, homogeneity of sample, and conceptual linkages. Okay, so I already discussed this preliminary, concepts, okay, as part of our introduction. So let's proceed to, okay, stage 4, okay, which now will be your this selection of a factor method. Okay, is the total variance or only common variance analyzed? Okay, if it's total variance, okay, extract factors with component analysis. If it's common variance, extract factors with common factor analysis. And then after that, you specify the factor matrix. Determine the number of factors to be retained. Okay, so we will look at the most significant factors. That's why we have to retain the most significant. So, and after that, okay, you have to select a rotational method. Okay, you may proceed with orthogonal methods, which have 3 methods here. We have the Varimax, Equimax, and Quartimax, or an oblique methods, which composed of Oblimin, Promax, and Orthoblique. Now, after that, okay, you'll proceed to interpreting the rotated factor matrix. Okay. Now, suppose, okay, um, you may ask, okay, significant loadings, okay, can they be found? Can you find significant loadings? Can factors be named? Are communalities sufficient? If yes, okay, you have to proceed to stage 6, okay? But if no, then you have to go back to, okay, selecting a factor method. So it's going to be another trial or another series of process if it's going to be no. Okay, so if it's yes, okay, proceed to factor model re-specification. Where any variables deleted? Do you want to change the number of factors or do you want another type of rotation? If yes, then you have to go back again to selecting a factor method and you have to go through the same process. Now, if it's no, then proceed to validation of the factor matrix. You have split multiple samples, separate analysis for subgroups, or identify influential cases. So here, you may either select surrogate variables, compute factor scores, and create summated scales. That's additional usage, okay, actually in stage 7. So stage 6, okay, it's about validation of the factor matrix. Okay, so this is the entire process, okay, of conducting a factor analysis. I'm just showing you the bird's eye view of how a factor analysis, okay, is done. So that's all for the introduction of factor analysis.